The changes that took place in Burma over the past year has been really fast. A lot of reforms taking place. What actually prompted the government to change so fast?
Well, I think after the election, they have thought it a long time ago. I think they have a master plan.
Right.
Since 2007, 2008. If you look at the Burmese army officers who are intellectual, who are well-educated Burmese, and they have a strategic thinking of how Burma should change or integrated into ASEAN. Because last 24 years, Burma has been heavily dependent on China. I think Burma wanted to find more allies and more partners, wanted to diverse its relationship externally. Also internally, I think the regime and the Burmese military leaders who live in power for more than 3 or 4 decades, thought that it is time to change. They cannot live alone. They can no longer live in the cave anymore. I think that thought and that thinking was there already.
Is there any chance the government might backtrack on its reforms or its development right now?
Well, yes, it's possible because of, even President and his government now face a lot of tough challenges from the parliament. If you look at the salary issues, if you look at the other sensitive issues about, selling the cell phones in a lower price and energy sector, how to manage the business and investment. There are a lot of challenges the president has been facing, but not from the opposition, not from the traditional opposition, Aung San Suu Kyi or other activists, but he has been facing this opposition from his own establishment.
Is Tan Shui still behind the scene?
Yes. I mean, the question, if you ask this question, a lot of people on the streets, a lot of well-informed people or intellectual people, and even the official, you will get 2 different answers. Yes and no. Because when I was in Burma, this is a question also I raised and talked to people. Sure, I think he was more like a politician, General Tan Shui. I'm sure that he is watching. He is very contented with what is happening now. And he must be happy, I imagine, with this, change. I think this is what they envision. Why he wants to pull it back. I don't think he wants to see countries backtracking. I think he should be happy the Burma has been accepted and is no longer pariah, becoming a darling of the international community. Everybody loves Burma, But also there's element in that. I think your question is important because General Mao A, number 2 at the regime in the past, and then Senior General Tan Shui. I think they both retain big respect in armed forces, in the military. We shouldn't forget that. So the question is whether the military is still loyal to General Tan Shui or General Mao A. This is a big question mark, even now. And there are elements, as I said earlier, that who resist the change. That could be our military.
Aung San Suu Kyi now joins the election. Does this mean that she now gets along with the government?
Well, I think there's a critical point about Aung San Suu Kyi, and some people think that she is wrong. She's wrong to put her faith in one person, one individual, which is the president. after she had a meeting with the president, it's one-on-one meeting. There was no one else there. Even some senior official didn't know what they had agreed during the meeting. But very obvious that when she came out, she was very impressed to have a meeting with the president. But what we know from the meeting, from our distance, from our educated guests, is that they talk about political prisoner issues. They talk about national reconciliations with the ethnic minorities. They talk about her party to re-register, to come back to the legal fold, or possibly to take part in this by-election. But this dialogue is not becoming a sort of a institution. It's more of a personal basis, a dialogue. That worries a lot of people. That worries a lot of people inside the country. But at the same time, I think she felt that, Aung San Suu Kyi felt that, I also met her briefly in Rangoon. I think she felt that politics in Burma is changing every day. It is very different from 2010. It is very different from 1990, when the NLD party won a landslide election. So that is a reason that she had decided to take part in this by-election, I think. And not just only that, maybe she's looking at 2015, that when Burma has a second election.
So if Aung San Suu Kyi wins the election or becomes a minister even, how would that change the political landscape of Burma?
Hard to say. The landscape will definitely change. After April, she'll be sitting in the parliament. She will become either a minister, she might not take it, or she might become a opposition MP. You know, that will change the dynamic in our politics. But before there were two. Whenever you go to Burma, you have two strong figures. You stop in two places. One is in Naypyidaw to meet President Thein Sein. The other is in Yangon to meet Aung San Suu Kyi. But then after April, after the election, she will probably be sitting in the parliament. That will change, I think, dynamic in Burma. I think so. I think it's a progress. I think I would say that.